Hi, folks.
In fact, we were watching On the Beach the other night.
Oh, yes.
From 1959.
Yep.
It wasn't exactly scientifically accurate. In 59, they didn't really know a whole lot about how, things would come out. But there's a line that the character played by Fred Astaire says, because he's supposed to be a scientist, and they ask him, how did this start? They're in Australia, they're in the submarine, and, the cloud is coming, the fallout cloud is going to kill everyone. So Fred Astaire answers, his character says, how did it start? Maybe the Soviet Union? Maybe the United States? Maybe it was an accident? Nobody knows.
Yep.
And that could be as true today as it was in 1959 when the movie was made.
Yep.
We also have to mention Neville Shute, who wrote the book.
Yes.
He's got to get acknowledgement about that. I think everybody here has seen the letter. It's filled with information. I have copies if anybody wants a hard copy, but I'm gonna talk to our friends over here about whether we can take the letter to the door or not. So why don't you continue saying why you're here today? We have a letter for the president, and we're wondering how we can get it to him. So you wouldn't.
I know, sir. I'm not.
Okay. Would it be possible for me to put the letter by the door? The last time we were here, last year on the same day, the gentleman that was in charge of security actually took it. He wanted to read it.
Maybe we'll get 61 before midnight every night.
Except that here in Europe, they're ahead of us. They've been on this day a little longer than we have.
Well, folks, here we are at the home of Johns Hopkins President Ron Daniels, who, by the way, is a Canadian citizen, and yet he gets top secret clearance because he oversees the weapons being developed at Johns Hopkins University. So here they give a foreigner top secret clearance and keep secrets from American citizens who need to know what their government is doing with their money, financing almost $2 billion in weapons contracts to Johns Hopkins University, more than any other university in the world, for military development.
She's asking us to leave and take everything down because this is private
Have
property.
you been able to
which
deliver the
my
letter?
taxes paid for.
Is this someone's car right here? Does that car belong to y'all?
Yes.
That's my car.
Okay, I'm gonna move, and y'all can back out, and y'all can go ahead and exit, please.
We're going to leave shortly.
No, I'm asking y'all to leave now, please.
Take it down.
Okay.
Well, can
y'all
I
gotta go
explain
now.
what happened last time they were here? The head of security was not aware that there is a treaty ban, a United Nations treaty.
Okay, we can talk about that as we exit. I'll walk with you.
Yeah, well, I think we have to.
No, we can have this talk.
We were here
He's
last
right, I was
time.
here
He was
with
happy
them.
to take the treaty because he was not
100
familiar. Are you familiar with the United Nations treaty ban? Johns Hopkins University is working on nuclear weapons
Can we
research.
put the letter at the door then?
No,
Yeah, it's already there.
No.
Yeah, the letter has been delivered.
I think, there's no
I didn't understand you. Why are you being so hostile?
I'm not being hot. I'm just asking y'all to please exit.
We were
definitely
going
being
to.
We won't be here long, miss.
We're really just exercising our citizens'
that's-
rights.
I get that.
We're not doing anything violent. And we're going to
We're just taking a photo off, then we're leaving, okay? Just taking some pictures, then we're leaving.
First Amendment rights don't end with private property.
It's going to be wiped out because of accident or intentional.
Especially when you're at the
war
private
starting,
property
you know.
of
We're for real.
bigwigs.
How much does the president get paid per year anyway?
We really don't have to leave until the police come and tell us.
Well, yeah, but what's our plan? I mean, I don't,
They cannot arrest us.
I understand that. But what's our plan? We deliver the letter, right?
The letter has been delivered.
So,
We're-
Max, do we know what the president's salary is?
I don't know. It just doesn't really matter.
Last time I saw it in the Baltimore Sun, it was like $2 million.
Yeah.
He's actually underpaid based on the article, looking at other Ivy League colleges.
I didn't know what the plans were, so I was trying to pack up. Thank you.
Nobody is worth several $1 million a year, no matter what they do.
Imagine how many kids they could feed
Yep.
around the world, how much food they could
Okay, folks, this is the first anniversary of the enforcement and ratification of the United Nations Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, ratified by 59 nations and signed by even more around the world.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've
And
done what we
earlier this week,
There in Washington,
several dozen volunteers delivered certificates of appreciation
and as I
to
understand it, many of you have
dozens of embassies in Washington,
while you
D.C.,
were in Washington, D.C.,
thanking them
but
for ratifying
representatives of
the UN
embassies.
Treaty on the
Yeah,
Prohibition
we
of
had
Nuclear
marvelous
Weapons.
conversations with the ambassador.
We have many photographs of meeting with
Kazakhstan.
embassy
Good, yes.
staff and
the
ambassadors
Soviet Union at
who
that
were very
point,
friendly
I mean,
and
the old Soviet Union
appreciative
had tested so many
of
nuclear
our
weapons in Kazakhstan.
appreciation.
Yeah, it
And
did.
of course they've left.
They sent them back, so.
Yeah, so it is. It is our
And
taxpayer
now we are
money
on the
that's
campus
supporting
of Johns
Problem
Hopkins
to ratify
University,
the
where
UN
the police have told us we must
And,
leave.
and the person we spoke to, the ambassador
And,
that's involved in the UN
We have
meeting,
delivered a letter
that Carol
to
and I were at,
President Ron
the
Daniels
preparatory meeting,
of the university,
where the
asking them
treaty
to
was signed.
quit and to cease the
And so
research and
he was
development
extremely
of
knowledgeable. It was very,
weapons,
very,
including nuclear weapons and drones that
I
kill
was very
innocent
inspired.
civilians.
Hey, Gwen and Terry, do you remember back in '92 when Reagan was getting some award in Las Vegas? And a guy grabbed the Crystal Eagle he was being awarded and dashed it to the ground and said, Reagan, you've got to get rid of the nukes. His name was Rick Paul Springer. And I just pulled the book off my shelf this morning and brought it because it's a great picture. In fact, it won the Las Vegas Papers photographer a prize that year.
I don't remember it. I'll ask my son who lives there now.
Yeah.
Well, Pope Francis is also against the nukes. He's come out many times to say no to nuclear research. And he would, if he were around here, he'd join us in this
And,
witness.
Janice just brought something up very important, because the Archbishop in New Mexico issued an excellent statement against nuclear weapons right across from a building at Los Alamos. And we're going to be sending his statements, because he also participated in Hiroshima and Nagasaki activities to the peace community organized in Albuquerque. We're going to be sending this statement to Bishop Laurie here in Baltimore, who runs the Baltimore Archdiocese. We've had communications with him before, so possibly we can continue a dialogue. They've already agreed that they're trying to divest from weapons contracts, if you don't know this. The Catholic Archdiocese, one of the issues is, you probably know this, when you get an investment, it could be a 5-year investment. So they're dealing with that, but the Archdiocese of Baltimore is actually divested from weapons contracts.
Excellent. Excellent.
And New York City passed
Yes, the city did.
to divest from nuclear weapons, and so now the controller is looking, the controller is looking at how to proceed.
So we are
A
succeeding.
good model in Baltimore, for Baltimore.
Yes.
Right on.
That's the
And
next
and
step.
David Grant keeps emphasizing divestment.
Divest.
Divestment, and
It's
he's
money
now
that
the head
drives
of
this.
Nuclear
It's
Ban
certainly not
USA,
logic.
or US. I want to thank everybody for coming out on this frigid day. I want to say that we are dealing with an enormous task, to say the least. We live in an empire. Many of us have profited from living in this empire. I would like to see us have a democracy. That's what I'm looking for. I want to live in a democracy. Unfortunately, we saw what happened. And it's pretty obvious that Sinema and Joe Manchin are bought by the corporations. And they are thanked by the corporations for what they're doing. We have a task ahead of us. Charlie Cooper, who signed the letter, he's actually going to California to visit with his daughter. Joan and Charlie are on the way. He signed the letter, but he worked so hard. Some of us were arrested at the White House on November 15th. Dick, Jean, Terry, Gwen, myself, and we were calling for Maryland. We want the freedom to vote. And this dog and pony show that just took place indicated.
We need the freedom
Thanks
to
for
vote
getting
everywhere.
arrested at the White
Jay
House.
Cullen,
I did.
Making a statement, and you don't think about it, but it's so obvious. 41 senators control the Senate. 41 senators control the Senate. That's a minority. That's not majority. That's not democracy. So if these 41 senators can say no, what do we do? What do we do? We have to get the freedom to vote. I work with Progressive Democrats of America. I work with Code Pink. I work with our groups here, Maryland Peace Action. I work with Catholic Worker Community, and so on. Maryland Peace Action. We have to be involved. We can't give up. We just have to do what we can. We're small in numbers, and we thank the Hopkins Security Force for allowing us to be here today. Thank you very much.
Bye.